It's time to break out the best wine lists of 2024. What wine pairs with cranberry sauce? We have the answer. And let's talk Rockstar Winemakers coming to a stadium near you. All that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Welcome to episode 19 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, November 25th, 2024. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey, your number one source for Corkage fees, restaurant reviews, winery reviews, and more. And with that, let's get right on into the news. Well, Wine Spectator has released its list of the top 10 wines for 2024. The Vina del Melchor took the top spot this year with their Cabernet Sauvignon Puente Alto Vineyard 2021, taking the top spot. Wine Spectator gave it a score of 96 points, and you can find the bottle at the original retail price. It was $175 was the retail. If history serves, you'll be lucky to find it for $400 or $500 at this point in time, if you can find it at all. And that was a pretty steep price for a Chilean wine to begin with. So there you have it. So anyway, that's as far as this list goes, it was pretty crazy. The top 10 wines from 1 to 10, here were their prices. 175, 170, 180, 65, bargain basement, 120, 44, red light special, 114, 72, and number 9 came in at $42. So you had 1, 2, 3 wines under that $100 price point in their top 10 list. Kind of the normal for Wine Spectator. I have been fortunate enough to grab a few of their number one wines over the past, and they're okay. We talk about wine value and wine pricing all the time. There are fantastic wines in the price point they have here, and those maybe aren't bad prices when you look across the board, but you can find better values and find exceptionally good wines as well. A lot of countries represented in this list, and so you can head over to winespectator.com and check out their top 10 list. It's always a big deal every year. And on the same token, VinePair released their 50 best wines of 2024. This list is a little bit different. Of the 50 wines on there, only 2 wines were above $100. Handful of them were in the $70 range, but the bulk were in the $20 to $50 range. And their number one pick was the 2023 Arnaud Roberts Sonoma Coast Syrah, which they gave 95 points and came in at a whopping $40. So you could get yourself 4 bottles of that compared to the 1 bottle of the Wine Spectator Wine of the Year. So, check it out. Again, this is a great list if you're looking for excellent wines and maybe a more moderate price point. I would highly, highly recommend that. And with that, let's move on to a quick plug for our friend Rex Pickett over at Rex Pickett Books. He's the author of Sideways right here over my shoulder, and it is a fantastic novel, and from that novel, a movie was released, and that movie has become a phenomenon, a cult favorite. Well, if you head over to rexpickettbooks.com, he will autograph the books. He will write whatever you want him to write in those books, and if you use the code CORK10, you will save 10% off your entire purchase. He's got posters. He's got all kinds of stuff. Head over to rexpickettbooks.com. And now on with the news. This is a List-a-Palooza show. We've got the 12 best Thanksgiving wines with classic and unexpected pairings. So as we head into Thanksgiving, this is Thanksgiving week. I'm actually on the road here to Florida to hang out with some family, so that should be a good time. But they talk about cranberry sauce. I tease with that. They basically pair with everything. So if you want to read through this list, it's like, hey, so if you want to pull out 20 bottles of wine to pair with everything that you're serving for Thanksgiving, this is the list for you. But the cranberry sauce, you could use a nice Gamay, you could go with a Rosé, or you could go with a Beaujolais. That is their cranberry sauce pairing. I'm going to try a Gamay with my cranberry sauce this year. I think it'll be it'll be fantastic. So anyway, nice list over there from Wine Cellar HQ. So head over and check that out as well. And then wrapping up the news, Wine Enthusiast has an entire thing on Napa's new wave of all-star consulting winemakers. So you've got Philippe Melka, you've got him in a little bit, Uncorked and Thomas Rivers Brown. Those are the ones, kind of the big ones they highlight in here, but then they talk about some of the old guard who we've talked about before. It's interesting because so many of the great wines that are coming out of Napa, it's the same winemaker. They're just going, they're the consulting winemaker at all. And yes, sure, there's another assistant winemaker and an enologist usually at these wineries. But, these are the guys that are basically the winemaker, and they go in and they make it happen at all of these various wineries. Thomas Philippe Meia, we're going to talk about both these guys in a little bit. I'll tie into them. But Thomas River Brown, he was the winemaker behind the Double Diamond, which I want to say 2 years ago, this is Sedona Cellars, Wine Spectator's Wine of the Year. This was their number one pick. And this was retailing only for $75 at the time. Hard to find it now for $300, $400, $500 if you can. We actually did a review of this on the website. It was okay. It was not mind-blowing. It was, okay wine. It was good. But anyway, again, that's Schrader. Thomas River Brown was the winemaker over there. So check it out. Interesting article if you're interested in how wines are made and what happens in the world of Napa and how that whole process works. And, there's some criticism, which is, are there too many, do all these wines start to taste the same? Because you literally have the same winemakers making so many of the wines up in Napa. Anyway, with that, let's get on to our wine and winery of the week. All right, as you know, Tina and I journeyed into the little-known wine countries or the lesser-known wine regions of America. We went down into Texas, in the Fredericksburg area, down there along that wine trail. And one of the pleasant surprises we had was Sedona Cellars, an absolutely beautiful, modern winery. I can't say enough about it. The owner, Barbara Laguna, is amazing. Her husband was amazing. It's got a little Cuban influences, which is Siboney. It is cigar friendly. They have a cigar area, a smoking area. The food was great. The charcuterie was great. Every part of it was just fantastic, and highly, highly recommend, if you're down there on the wine trail, check out Sedona Cellars in Johnson City, Texas. It's just maybe 15 minutes out of Fredericksburg. So if you're heading in that direction, very easy to find them. And fantastic wine, fantastic ambiance, beautiful indoor seating, beautiful outdoor. They've got an upstairs area that overlooks the vineyards up there, beautiful outdoor seating, indoor. Just if I live there, and whoever kind of lives in that area, you want to be a member there because it's just a great place to go hang out and have a glass of wine. So shout out to those guys for doing a fantastic job. And with that, let's talk a little bit about our wine of the week. This is going to be the 2018 Gandona Winery Meia Cabernet Franc. I have the 2019 here. We're out of the 2018. Matter of fact, this is my last bottle of their Cab Franc. This is not cheap. This comes in at like $175. Fairly expensive wine. It was just the 2018 we had, I think when we were able to get it was like 140 or something like that. We actually have gone up there. We did an interview with them. You can check that out on our YouTube channel. And by the way, Philippe Melka, one of the all-star winemakers we were talking about, he's the guy that made this wine. So again, we talk about the kind of that influence of these all-star winemakers there. Anyway, their wines aren't cheap, but they are up in Pritchard Hill. Absolutely beautiful. And this was probably one of the best Cabernet Francs we've ever had. So you say, is the juice worth the squeeze for that kind of price point? In this case, if you could afford it, it very, very, very much was. And now let's go to a whole different part of the world, Laguna Beach, for our restaurant and Corkage of the week. We're going to the Larsen restaurant in the Hotel Laguna. Hotel Laguna is located right on the water in Laguna Beach, California. It has been there a very, very long time. It's undergone new ownership. The rooms, as the last check, weren't even open, but the entire downstairs, the restaurant, the bar, the lounge, that has completely reopened. Larsen Restaurants is right there on the water. It is casual food, fine dining food. They have it all. Lunch is going to be more casual. Dinner is very, very nice. Their sushi is fantastic. Great bartenders, great bar. If you're in Laguna Beach, you might not think about it. It's a hotel, but you walk through that lobby, there's the ocean, and it is just absolutely a fantastic place. And their corkage fee is $35 a bottle, so not bad, mid-range. They've got no limit, so if you want to go there for a nice dinner, bring a bottle or two of wine, and you are set. With that, that is going to wrap up another edition of This Week Uncorked. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on all your favorite social media apps. And with that, cheers. We'll see you next week.